Well, Community Health Network is conducting its first ever phase 1 clinical oncology trial, and it could have some life-saving implications. Genomic testing playing a key role in identifying a patient. Another huge differentiator, Community's partnership with Tempus, a biotech company that has built the world's largest library of clinical and molecular data. For more, I'm pleased to be joined by Community Health Network Oncology Research Director, Dr. Bert O'Neill. And Dr. O'Neill, thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Gary. Appreciate it.
Talk about the significance of this phase 1 clinical trial. First one that Community has done. Really only a handful of hospitals do this kind of thing. Why is it important?
To me and I think to the leaders of Community, it's important because historically patients have had to travel to large centers, perhaps in Chicago or Texas or other cities, to get access to experimental medicines when they have a condition where standard treatment has failed. And that's very common in cancer for standard treatments to work for some time but then stop. And so really what's important to us is having access to these experimental medicines here in Indiana so that our patients can be treated with them in the same place they've received the rest of their treatment, rather than having to go to a strange place and travel for treatment.
Yeah, talk about this particular trial, the patient identified through genomic testing. How does the process work?
Well, things have changed a lot in cancer in the last 10 years. We now can get a tremendous amount of genetic information about a cancer. Every cancer is different. Even cancers that start in the same place can be very different genetically, and sometimes understanding what those genetic mutations are specifically can lead to specific drugs. And there's an ever-increasing number of examples of drugs that are created specifically to interact with a particular molecular abnormality. And so as these new drugs come out, we can find a patient based on genetic testing and match them with a trial that makes the most sense for them with one of these new medications.
And the speed, the efficiency, the speed in which you can do the process, the clinical trial is really critical, right? I know you have a partnership with the biotech company. I mentioned Tempus, a really important part of the process.
Yeah, correct. I think Tempus has really set up a very innovative system where we have all of the pieces in place to open a number of trials, but we don't actually have to open them all because that's difficult to do. But rather, when we do genetic testing and identify a person who would be eligible for one of those studies, we can actually get that trial open in 2 weeks and put that very patient on that trial right here at our center. So this is this is a capability that really relatively few places have had, and really exciting that we can bring it to Indiana.
Well, you mentioned 2 weeks. What would be a traditional timeline to do something like that?
Often depending on the center and how contracts work, it could be anywhere from 2 to 6 months to get a trial open.
Wow.
So you really couldn't tell a patient, oh, we have this trial for you and we're going to have it open 4 months from now. That's not really practical. So this Tempus network really gives us a capability that I think is really pretty revolutionary.
Yeah, as you look to the future of clinical trials at Community, you see this as an area that you'd like to grow.
Absolutely. This will definitely be a big piece of our clinical trial portfolio, is this Tempus trial menu, so to speak. But we're also opening studies through partnerships with other pharma companies, including Lilly here in town, but Amgen, AstraZeneca, Janssen, you name it. We've been surprisingly successful, given that we're new to this, in getting people to commit trials to us. So I think within the next year we're going to be looking at maybe 15 to 20 early phase studies open at Community.
Very good. Clinical trial focus at Community Health Network. Dr. Bert O'Neill, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it. We'll be following the story.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Well, this week, 9 Indiana hospitals were listed among the best in the state as part of U.S. News and World Report's annual Best Hospitals ranking. The publication ranks hospitals on a state-by-state basis in categories including cancer, ear, nose, and throat, and geriatrics. The IU Health Medical Center in Indianapolis tops the list of hospitals in the Hoosier State, and the only hospital that is also ranked in specialty categories, coming in number 34 for ear, nose, and throat, number 48 for geriatrics, and you can connect to the full lists at InsideIndianaBusiness.com.